Hi, I'm Dr. Nan Boss. I'm the owner of Best Friends Veterinary Center. Many of the illnesses that we see here every day are either caused by a genetic problem or influenced by genetics. That includes allergies, cancer, lots of orthopedic problems and eye diseases, dozens of metabolic problems with long names like glomerulonephropathy and degenerative myelopathy. We have DNA tests now for some of these genetic diseases. Researchers are learning more and more some of the secrets that are contained in the DNA of dogs and cats. Did you know that dogs are at risk for gene mutations that can cause disease? Over 300 genetic diseases, each caused by a single DNA error, have been discovered so far. Some genetic diseases, such as hip dysplasia, have genetic causes, but also have complex interactions between multiple genes and other factors such as nutrition. We can't test for these as easily. We can test for over half of the 300 single gene defects using commercially available DNA tests. In people, whenever a human baby is born, they prick the baby's heel, get a few drops of blood, send that off to the lab, and they test for over 300 different genetic diseases that humans can have. And up until recently, we haven't had something like that for dogs. For the past 10 years or so, we've been recommending the Wisdom Panel DNA screen to identify what breeds make up a mixed breed dog. My dog Izzy, for example, was tested as soon as I adopted her 3 years ago. She turned out to be 1/4 Beagle, 1/4 Bloodhound, and 1/4 Malamute, and the other grandparent was a mix. The idea was that once we knew what breeds a dog was a mix of, we could monitor for the genetic diseases those breeds were prone to. For the first time, we now have a multi-test DNA screen for dogs, more like what is available for humans, called Health Check. There are about 150 DNA tests included in the Health Check panel for the same price as a single DNA test looking for a specific disease. I still love to do Wisdom Panel testing because it's fun to know what breeds are in your dog, but for the same price, about $150, it makes more sense from a health standpoint to do the Health Check. This handsome boy who's gobbling the treats so we can try and keep him quiet is Emmett. Emmett has starred in a couple of our videos already because Doberman pinschers like Emmett are perfect examples of why we want to do DNA testing. Doberman pinschers have very high incidence of von Willebrand's disease, which is a disease that causes the blood to not clot properly, so they can have severe bleeding even from minor injuries or surgery. If a Doberman pinscher has 2 copies of the defective gene, they're going to have severe bleeding problems. If they have 1 copy of the von Willebrand's disease gene inherited from one parent, they do have some risk for abnormal bleeding, and that risk can slowly go up with age. So as Emmett gets older and we have to do a procedure, say he breaks a tooth and we have to extract it or he needs surgery for something, we will test his clotting times and make sure that his blood is clotting properly before we do surgery. We would always use the surgery laser for Emmett because the laser cauterizes blood vessels and we have less bleeding. Many genetic disorders are caused by a single defective gene. So boxers have a disease called cardiomyopathy, and they have their own particular form of cardiomyopathy that can cause an irregular heart rhythm. These dogs can topple over dead even at a very young age. That's a dominant gene. So a boxer can have just 1 copy of that gene and they can still have that disease and die of that disease. We are recommending that all puppies and adult dogs get a health check screen so we can be prepared or even prevent a problem if 1 or more of the genes tested for is abnormal. This is a test you only do once in your pet's life. If we can do most of our patients when they're young and healthy and pick up on things that we need to watch for or screen for as that pet gets older, that's what we are aiming for. So we're going to be talking to you about the health check screen when you bring your dog in, either for heartworm testing or their annual visit. Many diseases that cause pain and suffering can be linked to your dog's genetic engineering. Whether your dog is a purebred or a mix, a genetic health profile can predict future medical problems before they become painful and costly. It can allow us to proactively care for diseases that are treatable. It can help us to be better prepared during an emergency. Screening only requires a few drops of blood, and we have the results in 7 to 10 days.